Same day funding up to $500,000, no paperwork, and no hard credit pull. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Credit Plug channel. So for today's video, we have an absolute game changer. I'm gonna be sharing with you a financial resource where you can get up to $500,000. There's no balance sheet, no profit and loss statement, no tax returns, and no hard personal credit check. And this is a dedicated payroll line of credit. Introducing Payroll. This is dedicated payroll funding and the fastest way to fund your payroll. Payroll is how everyday businesses and growing startups like yours make payroll on time, every time. Get same day funding up to $500K. It's only 1.5% weekly, and you can get approved within 2 days. Payroll is trusted by the leading payroll companies across the United States. With Payroll, you never miss a pay period. So this is a backup fund exclusively for payroll. It gives you instant access to funds you can draw on whenever you need it, and it's free to use until you use your funds. Now, this is much faster and easier than a line of credit, so you could apply within 3 minutes with no paperwork at all, have backup funds available at no cost to you. Again, the same low rate of 1.5% each week, and use again and again, so your approved funds will always be available and you can get the funds in your account that same day. You can also get help from a live human by phone or email. There's no fees to enroll, there's no credit impact, no cost until used, and there's no early payment penalty. In terms of eligibility, you must be at least 2 years in business, have at least 25K average monthly revenue. You must have a minimum of 5 employees up to 1,500 employees, and employees must be paid via payroll or an accounting software. Payroll is powering payroll for small businesses in every industry. Even if you've been denied for credit, you're a young business, or you're in growth mode, you don't have much history, you have no debt, or if you have a lot of debt. Now, hundreds of businesses have used Payroll to make sure their employees are paid on time. This client gave Payroll 5 stars. According to them, I wasn't pulling teeth to have my personal net worth from owners or digging up documents and tax returns from previous years. Payroll offered a simple solution that we could use as much or as little as we wanted with same-day funding. Payroll's a lifeline. It's a straightforward, fast, simple, and you don't need a profit and loss or a balance sheet to get approved. According to this client, we doubled our patients since last year, but insurance payments did not come through until 8 to 10 months later. Terms with other banks like PayPal or On Deck are lousy. Until Payroll, we couldn't get a loan. Thanks to Payroll, we are able to expand our practice and keep up with demand. Now, here's a real client testimonial. Now, this was a behavioral health clinic established in 2005 with an $850,000 payroll. So they have over 100 plus employees. The clinic had grown rapidly with increasing monthly revenue, steady cash flow, and patients booked for months. Then a planned system overhaul affected their payouts. With an $850,000 payroll paid bi-weekly, they needed funding immediately to cover the gap for just a month or two. The only other options out there take months to get, and without Payroll, we would have to revert to an expensive cash advance or hard money loan with possible payment penalties if paid early. We reached out to Payroll and found that the best fit for our company was to take out a 2-week loan for $500,000. For our next payroll period, 2 weeks later, our payments had begun coming in, and we only needed $300,000. 2 weeks later, we were down to $150,000, and that was it. Now, right here, you can calculate what your cost will be for your payroll loan, depending on the amount of your payroll, as well as how long you have the payroll loan outstanding for. So let's just say you have it outstanding for 4 weeks, and your payroll is $10,000. Your total loan cost will be $600, and this is for a payroll loan of $10,000 over 4 weeks. Let's say you only need it for 1 week. Your total fee will be just $150, which is 1.5% per week. Now, every business needs a safety net for when cash is low. Make Payroll yours. So let's go over some frequently asked questions. Okay, so how much financing can I get? Again, it goes up to a maximum of $500,000. In terms of the rate and fee, it's always going to be 1.5% weekly. So whatever your payroll amount is going to be 1.5% of that amount weekly, and that's the fee. In addition, there is a $150 transaction fee for every funding transaction. And this is just a one-time fee every time you actually take out a payroll loan. How long do you have to repay? So you can choose between 1 to 4 weeks to repay. 4 weeks or 28 days is the maximum period you can withdraw funds for. And there are no early payment penalties. Also, can I pay back early, and will I save on interest if I pay early? Yes, you could pay back early. There are no early payment penalties. Rates again are 1.5% weekly. So if you pay a week earlier, you can avoid that week's interest. Now, does payroll cover other expenses other than payroll? No, payroll is a unique loan that just helps businesses cover payroll. So payroll isn't available for payments to freelancers or outside contractors who aren't paid through payroll, right? So it actually has to be paid through a payroll system or an accounting software. Now, in terms of eligibility, you must have a minimum of 5 employees. Now, a little bit of details behind that. So this could be W-2 or 1099, but they must be processed through an accounting software or a payroll company to be covered. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you need 5 W-2 employees. You could have, let's say, 1 W-2 and 4 1099. As long as you're paying them through a payroll provider or an accounting software, then you're eligible. You'll also need to be in business for 2 years and have at least 25K in monthly revenue. Now, another great thing is that payroll is available in all 50 states. Now, in terms of documentation, right, so they're going to need access to your banking information to make sure that you're generating that 25K in monthly revenue. So they have 2 options. You could either connect through Plaid, or you could actually submit 6 months of bank statements. So they give you the option. Now, the cool thing about payroll is that after you get your initial approval, that's how much you have access to, and you can keep using it over and over. So all you have to do is go through the process once. Whatever approval amount you get, you could use that whenever you need to. So you don't have to keep reapplying for loans. Also, frequently asked questions: will applying to payroll impact my credit? So again, no, applying won't impact your credit. So they will do a soft pull, but again, this is going to be for KYC and identity verification purposes. Now, just to recap, in terms of eligibility, minimum 2 years time in business, at least 25K average monthly revenue, minimum of 5 employees up to a maximum of 1,500. And again, the employees can be technically W-2 or 1099 as long as they're paid via payroll or an accounting software. So if you're paying people under the table or you're writing a check to them directly, then it's not going to count. They literally have to go through a payroll service or payroll company or an accounting software. Now, overall, I think this is an absolute game changer. This is a dedicated line of credit exclusively to cover payroll, and you can extend terms out to 4 weeks, maximum of 28 days. There's no impact to your credit score, so they're not going to be hard pulling your credit whatsoever. Now, you will have to provide your social security number for verification purposes, but otherwise, they're really just looking at your banking activity, and they'll also want a payroll report, right? So they want to know how much you're actually processing in terms of your payroll. Now, this payroll funding solution comes just in time because, as a lot of you guys know, ADP, which had an integration with Plastique as well as Zelle Money, are no longer available. So for those who are aware, ADP, which is the largest payroll company in the United States, through their ADP marketplace had integrations with third parties where you could actually use a business credit card to fund your payroll. But unfortunately, scammers did away with that. And so ADP completely overhauled their marketplace, and this is no longer available. So you can no longer use a credit card to fund your payroll through ADP's marketplace. So this is a great alternative to that. In fact, I think this is a lot better because it's much more direct. Now, what happens when you get your payroll line of credit, you could actually then transfer that money to your business checking account, and then your payroll will just be taken out of your business checking account. So it's that simple. Now, again, I know a lot of people were upset about ADP's marketplace no longer enabling you to use a credit card, but this is definitely a better alternative in my opinion. Now, you can use payroll with any payroll system out there, whether that's ADP, Gusto, Paychex, NetChex, whatever the case is, because this is going to be outside of the payroll system. So it's not an integration. You just apply for payroll, you get your dedicated payroll line of credit, and then you can use that whenever you need to cover your payroll. Now, I know for a lot of businesses, let's say if you're waiting on money to come in, you have some accounts receivable, and that doesn't come in time before you have to run payroll. Something like this is critical because you can still make sure yourself or even your employees are being paid, even if you have some shortfalls in your cash flow. Now, if anyone is interested in applying, I've dropped a link down in the description of the video. That's all for today. Let me know your comments and questions. And until next time, take it easy, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.